What's up, my friends? Welcome back to the channel. And on today's video, okay, you know how running is good for us? Like, I think that's a pretty general consensus, right? It's good for our health, it's good for our longevity, and running begets better running. That's probably a reason why a lot of us keep doing it. But did you know that running actually helps your brain? It can help you think? Well, I'm sure a lot of you are saying, yes, Matt, I did know that. Well, we're still going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about 7 brain boosting benefits of running. Let's get into it. Okay, so I've got to be honest, I didn't come up with a beautiful alliteration myself. I did find an article on rundoor.com. The article is by Stuart Golden, and the article is titled, Why Running Helps Us Think, - 7 Brain Boosting Benefits. That's fun to say. Now, of course, I will place a link to this article in the show notes in case you want to click on it and read through the entire thing. In this video, we're just going to be going down the list and giving you the clip notes. So if you thought you were going to go out for a run and you decided not to, maybe this will push you over the edge because of some of these benefits. Okay, the first brain boosting benefit of running is called free-flowing ideas on tap. Okay, now this is based on science, and there was a study conducted at Stanford University, and it had 176 participants, and they were separated into 4 different criteria. We had participants walking on a treadmill facing a blank wall, we had participants walking outside, we had participants sitting inside facing a wall, and participants sitting in a wheelchair outside. Can you imagine if you got put in that group sitting facing a wall? Anyway, in each of those 4 scenarios, the participants were tasked with doing some creative thinking scenarios, or measures. Like, they took a test to measure creative thinking, and the results were incredible. And I mean incredible in the way that it was actually supported by science, not really incredible in the way that it was the expected outcome. And basically, it was found that when walking was compared to sitting, the creative output was 60% higher with walkers. And get this, walking outside mattered a lot too. And this is amazing. 100% of the participants that walked outside generated one high-quality idea, compared with only 50% of those that were seated inside. So ultimately, some leg movement, some visual stimulation, and of course the mood benefits of just being outside and walking around contributed to better ideas and more of them. And then the author of the article does bring up that there were some pretty big thinkers in their day that tied their creative process with moving around. And the article lists Beethoven, Dickens, Darwin, and Jobs. Okay, the second way to encourage brain boosting benefits of running is to create an incubation period for ideas. Okay, you know that situation where you're talking with someone and you try and remember something, but you can't really remember it, even though you know that you know it, and you also know that it's going to come to you at an inopportune time, maybe when you're lying in bed, maybe when you're in the shower. Well, obviously going for a run is also one of those times when we kind of let go and we let the ideas come to us. And that's because when we're in these inopportune situations, and inopportune meaning that we're not actually in the situation when we need these ideas to come to us instantly, like laying in bed, like in the shower, like going for a run, it's because we're relieving the stress, the high pressure situations. We're leaving it behind and we're just letting our mind do what it wants to do, wander away. Now, the article states that your subconscious mind is looking for that great idea all the time, but it's only able to enter your conscious mind when there's enough space. And by that, I mean like the RAM of your brain is filled up with daily tasks, like being at work, having a conversation, running through a to-do list of the day, and then only when you've relaxed and your mind is free, your subconscious can let those ideas come to the surface. At least that's what the article says. It seems like it makes sense. Now, the article provides an excellent quote from psychologist Shelley Carson, and she points out that distractions are excellent for mining new ideas. Focus is required for execution. And I think that last part is really outside the lane of this channel, gets away from actually running, but it's good to know, because if you do want to execute a great idea, unless it's training related, you're probably not going to be able to do both at the same time. And by both, I mean running and execute your great idea. Anyway, moving on. Number 3 is to run the path to happiness. And by running the path to happiness, we're talking about when we run, we release dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. All those things that make us feel like we are experiencing the elusive runner's high. Okay, here's a side note and a request for a comment, but have you actually experienced the runner's high? And when was the last time you did? And what type of run were you doing when you experienced the runner's high? For me, it's been a very long time, and it's very hard to get there. Anyway, back to the article. The article points out how endorphins are natural painkillers, so they naturally reduce discomfort, which is probably why when we start for a run, our runs seem really uncomfortable and miserable, but after a mile or two, we start feeling really good and feel like we could run forever. Those endorphins also come in pretty handy when we're trying to race to the best of our ability. And then, of course, the neurotransmitters dopamine and serotonin are responsible for mood stabilization, and they also bring feelings of happiness and optimism. And those things are very important to really get your creativity flowing. And then, of course, the article points out the Pavlovian response to running. Because we're getting all this good stuff going on in our brain when we go for a run, our body associates this good feeling with going for a run, so we want to run more. So when it comes down to it, it's not really surprising that running is so addictive. The fourth brain boosting benefit is running to remember memories. And the article points out that running is a great source of brain food. I love the word brain food, and it is one word in the article. Anyway, regular running can increase the size of the hippocampus. And the hippocampus is a key player in remembering your memories. And get this, not only can running increase the size of your hippocampus, it can also slow the decrease in size of the hippocampus, which could slow memory loss as we get older. And the article does point out that increasingly aerobic exercise is being prescribed by medical professionals to prevent, delay, or even treat cognitive decline. Oh, and there was a study by the American Academy of Neurology. It had 206 participants, and it looked at them before and after a 6-month exercise program. And at the end of that 6 months, the study found that the participants had a 2.3% increase in brain flow to the brain, which resulted in a 5.7% improvement in cognitive tests and a 2.4% boost in verbal fluency. Pretty good. Number 5 is to experiment with moving meditation. Now, the article points out that great things can happen when we move our attention to the outside rather than the inside. And what the author is referring to is appreciating the stuff around you, like seeing the beauty in nature when you're out for a run. And this appreciation for nature, that can be important for creativity. And that increase in creativity that you're going to get by running is not just about new ideas. It's about new perspectives. And also, when you do get an idea, it's about expression of those ideas. So staying present, staying in the moment of your runs has a lot of big benefits. And I know this goes against a lot of other running advice, like listen to your music and tune out when you're on the run. So there was also an experiment to measure this. And the experiment looked at the effects of outdoor exercise on mood, perspective, as well as a whole bunch of other mental health benefits. And the results found, and this is pretty good, this is pretty good to me to remind me to do this, but the results found that people who looked up and appreciated their surroundings, that found beauty in what they were looking at outside, reported feeling more energized and more joyous as a result of that. And look, because these participants were out there really appreciating what they were seeing, they became more attuned to discovering things that would make them go wow, discovering beautiful things. And more than that, they were able to articulate what they were seeing better. Get this, they also developed a desire to see more beautiful things. The more they saw, the more they wanted to see. And they would look at these beautiful things with childlike eyes, according to the article, and their well-being improved. So take that for what it's worth. I think it's definitely worth a try because it doesn't take a lot of work to actually go out and look around and appreciate the beauty around us. And I won't ask you to comment after you go outside and do that because you would have already watched this video, and who's got the time to come back to a video they've already watched just to leave a comment. Hey, I would just like to ask that if you are finding this video entertaining or informative, I'd love for you to consider subscribing and leave a like on this video. Thank you. The sixth brain boosting benefit of running is that the benefits last throughout the day. Now, look, this section is very biased towards morning runners. I'm a morning runner, so I can appreciate this bias, but if you're not, take it with a pinch of salt. Anyway, the article points out what us morning runners actually know. Doing your run before anything else in the day gives you a sense of accomplishment, especially if you're doing it before most other people are awake. It's also easier to find yourself and find that flow state on the back of a morning workout. So if you have a mentally taxing job, perhaps going for a run before you work will help you be more successful during the workday. I don't know, but it's worth giving it a try. And the seventh benefit of brain boosting benefits, was that too many benefits, is that running keeps brain cells healthy. And of course we know that moderate exercise really helps keep mental fatigue at bay, and look, moderate aerobic activity is the key. Now, researchers found that slow and steady aerobic exercise can promote neuroplasticity and protect against neurodegeneration. So by going for the run, you are going to think better, you're going to read, write, reason better, you're going to remember better, and you're going to get better sleep. So in a nutshell, the cognitive benefits that you get from running are going to affect every area of your life. So if you haven't done it already, I'm going to encourage you to get out for that run right now. And with that, it's Matt B. We've talked about 7 brain boosting benefits of running. Be kind, be happy, run well. I'll see you in a couple of days.